Of course, some countries of Southeast Asia are rather popular, especially Thailand and Philippines. Alas, they are mostly known as sex capitals of the world. So, many people go there primarily for sex. This is even though the culture, historical, cuisine, and other experiences these countries can offer to a tourist are much more rewarding and impressive than what Bangkok red light district can provide. Considering this will focus on conventional tourism, so to say. So, what makes Southeast Asia tourism option you should consider? The first reason is the prices all across the region. They are ridiculously low. One of the first problems a backpacker needs to solve after arriving in a new country is accommodation. In Southeast Asia, almost everywhere, accommodation is so cheap that for the money a tourist would spend on a hostel in Europe for 1 week. In this region, he or she could live 1 month. See for yourself if you go to Cambodia or Laos, a place in a dorm. Room would cost you somewhere between $2 till $5 per day. Night in a Vietnamese hostel will cost you around $8 until $10 per day. Thailand is probably the most expensive on the list, with prices between $6 until $13 per day. If you are not fond of living with a bunch of unfamiliar people, get ready for pay only 15 until 20 for a private room. Of course, these prices depend on cities. Larger cities and popular tourist destinations will naturally be more expensive. But generally, throughout the entire Southeast Asia, you can find it's extremely cheap accommodation easily, especially considering there's no need to book a hostel in advance. Basically, you show up and rent a room or bed in spot. So, if you are a tourist with a limited budget, worrying about a place to stay for a couple of weeks, Southeast Asia is your choice. Staying there is more than affordable. By the way, the same refers to food. This is the secondary reason. Almost everywhere around Southeast Asia, you will be able to find quality street food for low prices. I'm not lying, this is the fact. The price for a pack of chewing gum in the United States equals to a huge portion of filling exotic food in Vietnam. And that is also a fact, as well as mainland Asia. The region possesses ancient history and deep culture closely interconnected with Buddhism. The ruins of Angkor Wat, Japan's Champa, pagodas of Bagan, millenary temples and shrines, all this and much more awaits a tourist discovering this part of Asia. Relics of the are so numerous that even if you spend a year in the region, you will probably not be able to see all of them. Along with the ancient times, Southeast Asia has gone through intense political and military turmoil during the recent century. The war in Vietnam, the terror in the Khmer Rouge, the destruction of Laos, Pacific Navy battles, Japanese invasions. This is just a tiny part of what was going on here not so long ago. Knowing about the hardship Southeast Asia had gone through and witnessing its rapid development. Now, watching incredible contrasts intertwine and combine, it is difficult to to not fall in love with this place. Besides, if you are seeking for cultural diversity, Southeast Asia has it all, with such a diversity of language, customs, ethnicities, and then religious beliefs, lifestyles, and fashions concentrate on such relative small price of land. Your immersion in the atmosphere in this place will be instant, deep, and impressive. Yet, another argument for budging tourists visiting Southeast Asia is the convenience and affordability of transportation in the region. Naturally, when you arrive in a new country, you don't want to spend your whole time in one city. You want to see all of what this country can offer. And this often implies using public transportations such as trains or buses. Well, booking transportations in the Southeast Asia is easier and cheaper than in many other regions of the world. Every big city is flooded with travel agencies offering their services for almost no cost. And even getting some distant islands is not a problem. A bus is usually the cheapest way to travel around the region. 5 till 6 hours ride a bus will cost you only like $5 until $8. Overnight buses are somewhat more costly, from $10 until $15, depending on distance. As for the transportation within big cities, there is only good news for poor tourists. For example, a bus around Bangkok costs only 10 cents, and the subway $1. The local train system of Singapore starts its pricing from $1 as well. Taxis and minibuses are usually more expensive, but it is possible to bargain with the drivers. So you can get the price up 2 times lower than the one initially suggested by a cab owner. All of which means, in a nutshell, that you will able to see everything you want, get everywhere, and spend a reasonable amount of money. Southeast Asia is a unique region with ancient history, rich culture, incredible food, and unique experiences a traveler can get from visiting it. With incredibly low accommodation prices, affordable food, and convenient transportation, this part of Asia is the number one of choice for budget tourists. Therefore, when planning your next trip, you should definitely consider going there. Alright, that's all for today's video, and I hope this will change your mind about traveling Europe, and you can go to Southeast Asia actually. It is very cheap in here. Well, me myself, personally, I come from Indonesia. So Indonesia is commonly known as a cheap country to travel to for tourists. We have Jakarta City, we have Bali, and many more islands. We have thousands of islands here. They will that you can visit here. And of course, it is so cheap to travel here in Indonesia. Alright, my name is Theodorus, and I'm signing out. Peace. Hey, what's good internet? My name is Theodorus Gamaliel, aka Dude. I'm 19. I come from Bogor. So today's topic, I'm going to talk about Southeast Asia. Why Southeast Asia is the best destination for tourists. There are places on our planet that tourists around the world have been favoring for decades, like Hawaii, India, Southern Europe. These are examples of popular destinations, gathering millions of foreign visitors annually. Of course, this is for certain reasons. Unfortunately, the majority of popular tourist places possess a number of inconveniences that can greatly spoil the impression of an experience of visiting them. Prices, incredibly high prices to be exact, are probably the biggest inconvenience. Naturally, the more tourists that arrive to a certain place, the higher local vendors will raise their prices. This is not to mention annoying crowds of foreign people with cameras everywhere, disappearing authenticity. Hawaiian party, for examples, have turned into an attraction for pensioners long ago, and the impossibility to enjoy a number country by yourself. But at the same time, there are many options tourists usually either ignore or underestimate. Earth is a big place, and a lot of exciting things are waiting to be discovered. You only need to change your perspective a bit, it's only a bit, and consider traveling scenarios you previously did not pay attention to. One of such options is Southeast Asia, the land of undiscovered wonders. Of course, some countries of Southeast